back to Anonymous Animators. Today we're talking about Season 1 of Wakfu. I'm your host, Wesley Boone.
I'm Emily Strasser.
And our guest speaker today
is Steve Stromberg.
Yes, Steve is our resident Wakfuologist, so he will be giving us all the additional information. So as said, we just watched Season 1, myself and Emily in particular, but I know Steve was a big fan of the show.
Yeah, I've seen Season 1 probably 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Okay. Now, the difference is, Steve, you've watched it all in French, right?
Yeah, that would be the difference.
Yeah. Okay, well, the problem with myself and Emily, we were watching it on Netflix with Season 1, and we jumped to French, I think, like, midway through episode 2.
Yeah, something like that.
And the subtitles were completely off whack. Like, sometimes they didn't show up. You know, there was just like, it was only for like 10 minutes, but we were missing out on so much information.
Yeah.
So for like during those 10 minutes, and I don't know if it was just that episode, we didn't bother to check, but yeah, sometimes the text would just go on for a really long time. Like the character would be talking, and I don't speak French, but I can tell that there's supposed to be more than just this one line of dialogue for that like duration. And other times,
because you switch languages between, like, in the middle of the episode, or?
It's quite possible, but I would have assumed it would have balanced out, like, after a few... Because, I mean, if it did it, like, right in the beginning, which it did do right in the beginning, it was, like, nothing appeared, and then it appeared. Right. And then it was fine for a bit, and then, like, Emily and I looked at each other at the same time, and we're like, I think we're missing something here. That being said, the voice acting in the French version, in my opinion, was much better.
Oh, it's so much better.
It was... Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot more, and also the
sound design of it. It sounded like they didn't quite have the high res for all of the sound effects.
Yeah.
So it always felt like the talking was so much more loud.
Yeah, the sound design was.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay, because before I came, I watched 2 episodes in English, and one of them was like the last episode, and I was watching it, and I was like, I remember this sounding so much better. What's wrong with the audio? And I was like listening, like, no, yeah, the music's there, the sound effects are all still there. They're just toned way down.
Yeah. And so, because it's not like you can hear French talking in the background or anything, so there was definitely somebody who wasn't working with the levels properly, like there. And from what I understand, it was done with the Kickstarter, right, to get the English voice acting?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you never do sound design with iPod headphones. You always... Actually, one of the things that I don't remember if I read this or if I was watching some interview, but like some band member was like, oh yeah, I always try to do my sound editing with really crappy speakers. So that way if I know if they sound good on crappy speakers, they're going to sound amazing on good speakers, so...
I mean, it's an idea, but I don't know, like, that sounds crazy to me.
The way to do it, I'd have to switch back and forth between good and bad speakers.
Yeah, well, at the very least you want to play
Because then I'd get to my good speakers and I'd be like, oh, this doesn't sound like how I remember it at all.
Well, no, it's an art form in itself, because I've done that. I've done a little bit of film editing myself, and it always frickin' like... I do it on, like, headphones, and then I'll do it on speakers, and it doesn't sound right, and then it comes to the premiere, and they sound way different than when I was sounding between headphones and speakers, so it's an art form in itself.
Well, I mean, like any art form, you always sort of, I mean, if you're drawing something, you then step back and look at the whole thing, or some, I mean, with Photoshop, when we would flip an image around just to see if it balances on both sides, right?
See that the eye is really far off than what you originally intended.
Yeah, so that was like my big, I guess with the English voice acting, because in the beginning, when we first started watching it, the first 2-3 episodes, and it was probably the English voice acting's fault, because Knox, who is like the main villain in the show, his laughing was like, oh, hi, I'm a voice actor. And I think one of the first things I said to Emily when we were watching was like, you can hear this is a lot of these people, a lot of these voice actors, like, first big deal.
It had to have been.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely voice actors.
Well, Knox's voice actor is like some British actor who I went and looked him up when they announced, oh, here's all the English voices, and it's like some guy that was on some sitcom British show in like the 80s or something. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a fit. I mean, I don't know, maybe he would be amazing, but I don't know. And then I watched it, I was like, no, he wasn't. He was not amazing. If you hear him laugh in the French one, there's so much more going on with it. It's like maniacal and just like unhinged is the word I keep using.
I have the same issue with one of my favorite anime is Higurashi no Naku Koro ni, or in English it's just called Higurashi When They Cry. And I love the anime because the voice actresses in that show, like, they do these frequent, like, maniacal, just completely unhinged, crazy laughter. And it sounds just absolutely spine-chilling, but then you do it in English, and it's like they're trying to get there, but it's not... But it's like the first or second take, and it's not quite there.
They're not quite comfortable doing it, but they're doing it anyway. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing voice acting myself here and there, like, for no professional reason. And you listen back, and I'm like, I am a terrible voice actor.
Yeah. It's a different art. I don't know so much about in France. I'm assuming it must be if they got those voices down so well for Wakfu, but in Japan, it's a huge deal, voice acting. It's like, those are celebrities. That's why Goku has had the same voice actress since Dragon Ball. It's like, now he's a grown man and he's screaming and yelling these, but it's like a woman. So she's like,
oh yeah, because she does have that high-pitched growl. Well, I mean, even in the West a little bit, I've noticed at least into my sort of dive into the My Little Pony fandom, right? I got a little bit into the voice acting side of it too, and I was like interested in knowing what went on behind it. And then going to a couple of cons and going to actual voice actor panels, I've noticed here in Vancouver in particular, but I guess Los Angeles maybe too, there is a little bit more of a rise of like TV voice actors as a career. You know, whereas even they, like in a lot of their panels, they mention stuff like, oh, we didn't really pursue it as a career because it was like something you did outside of, say, acting in TV commercials or something. Yeah. But then people started realizing, no, but you needed to train a certain way, you need to vary your voice, you need to act certain ways, and they want that. They want the acting, but sometimes, again, they're not always willing to pay for it, which is something I want to bring up with Wakfu, paying for it. Like, there's a lot of money that went into this production. I don't know what the final numbers are.
I could look it up.
But you can see it. Like the backgrounds are beautiful. I mean, there's definitely rigs in this. You know, there's definitely some rigs.
Flash rigs.
But there's I mean, it's all done in Flash. It's a Flash cartoon, which is something people aren't really like. They don't tell you what the show is made in.
No, they don't.
You have to like do a lot of digging.
And it's actually really impressive for what for being in Flash.
Because Flash is like if you know Flash, if you just use it for like even little things, you know how easy it crashes. And
oh god,
it's like you're like, oh, I'm gonna just move, crash, and then restart, and hopefully you've saved recently. And to put all that detail, all that background, all those characters' movements, because it's not always, because there's a lot of redrawing, and redrawing in this case, for those who don't know, is when you're using puppet animation, you just control the rig, and the computer sort of tweens it for you, and then you have to tweak those tweens. Right. Whereas when you do redrawing, you have to literally redraw the poses and the positions, and there's a lot of that in this as well. I mean, there's like some amazing angled shots of like worm's eye view, 3/4 thing, like action poses. It's amazing. I really thought that was amazing. Sorry, yes. So what was the?
Yes. So the pledge was $80,000.
No, this is for Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, this is the Kickstarter.
But this is for the English.
Yeah, this is just to get it brought over to.
Yeah, I want to know what the actual cost of the show was.
That would be a little harder to look up.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't it would probably be on the Wikipedia. They'll sometimes put it on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me try that. Then.
Yes, we're doing research for you.
We never think about these things until we bring it up in the show.
It's fun. I mean, we've got the technology to do it. But yes, that's like watching the show. I was like very impressed with it. I love the designs of the characters. Who's the main designer for the whole thing? Xavier Hussein? I don't know how to say it. It's something with his. He calls himself Zo or Zay or something.
He just goes by Za online. Or Za. XA.
Now, is he French or?
Yeah, he's French.
Okay, because this show again is this show is very heavily influenced from the anime style, right?
Yeah.
It throughout, like the characters' eyes, just the bodies of the characters in general. I mean, you like look at who in the English version we call him Percival.
Yeah. French, he's Pin. But in the fan dubs that fan subs that I was watching, they called him Grovey, which was short for Sadly Grove. Yeah, well, this is the problem that I had with English dub as well, because they called him 3 different things, okay? They called him Percival, they called Percidal, by the way, which is something I didn't pick up initially. I thought it was Percival, which is the name.
then they would sometimes call him Sadly Grove, like just randomly. They'd be like, "Hey, Sadly Grove, come here," or "Where is Sadly Grove?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Sadly Grove?" I'm like, I'd be confused half the time. I wouldn't know who the characters were, and that's already putting into another big problem I have with the show is that you have to know so much of the lore.
Yeah. If you did not come hot off the tails of playing the Dofus MMO, you have no idea what's going on.
And then thirdly, they would then call him Dally. Now, I didn't hear Persa Dull. I heard Percival, and so I had no idea who Dally was, but they eventually had to pick it up, they were referring to him, and I was trying to figure out why they were giving him that nickname, because again, it's never really... It's not like, oh, we're just going to call you Dally from now on.
There's a moment in, like, episode 2, I think, and again, I haven't watched the English dub, so maybe they just didn't put that in, but Yugo calls him, I guess in this case it would be Dally, and Rule, the old man, starts laughing at him like, "Oh, what a great name!"
Yeah.
And so they start calling that to sort of like tease him. It's like a nickname, I guess. But
which he also off and on seems to like.
Yeah.
Because that's again another problem with English dub is because there's this pacing that I think that they just didn't have time to sort out with editing or whatever.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, from episode 1 through to episode 24, or the last episode of season 1, there's this run-on sentencing. You know, they're like, "Oh, I don't really like it, but hey, let's keep going." And then it's like there's no time for anybody to respond to anything. And I don't know if that was like that in the French version.
It didn't feel that way. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you could be missing a lot of tone, but it happened a lot in the English version. There was so much run-on sentencing. You know, like they had no commas and full stops in between stuff. It's like they had to get all this out, all the story out.
Yeah. Well,
in a short amount of time.
You also have the issue where it's a different language, so maybe it's more compact when it's in French, but when you have to like lengthen out these because you don't have words for some of these things, and so it's like, okay, well, this word would be like a condensed way to say this, but that's French. Here we are in English, we have to say it in this many words, and now we're out of time. We got to keep up with the pace of the cartoon, and maybe you do have to like budget your time like that.
I don't have a full understanding of how much money goes into the voice acting scene. I imagine $80,000 is a lot of money.
Oh, they got like over 400,000 for the Kickstarter to get it dubbed into English. So.
So 400,000, so almost $500,000. I feel like they could have. I don't know how long ago was it dubbed.
2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wow! You see, so it's all pretty recent. And you say like then they got like an English voice actor from. I just feel that they could have gotten more established voice actors who were like known voice actors over. But maybe because they got all that extra cash, they were willing to spend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, wasn't there. I just feel that again, like looking into the voice actors that I've known around here in Vancouver. Like they've done a lot of work. I look at I can't remember the name of this actress right now, but she's done like a lot of voices. She's the voice in Littlest Pet Shop.
Oh, Ashley Ball.
Ashley Ball, like she does a lot of work. She's in Littlest Pet Shop. She's in
She's Rainbow Dash and Applejack and My Little Pony.
Yeah. You know, and I just feel like, and she's got like a huge body of work. I think she was also Maya the Bee from a while ago.
She was a bunch of stuff. Like,
so I just feel, and obviously, I don't know, like where did they dub it again? Did they dub it in England or was it like
I think it was done in Toronto.
I want to say Montreal, actually.
Yeah, it might have been Montreal.
And what's the voice acting scene like there? Does anybody know?
I have no idea.
Not a clue.
Because again, the voice acting scene seems to be very strong here.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know what the production is like.
Well, and that's another thing is I don't know.
Well, it was definitely Canadian because you remember the first time. I don't remember what it was that they said, but they said something very interesting. But like they said something that you would never hear in the States, and I was like, oh, this is Canadian. This is very Canadian.
Oh, I know it was Canadian because they took my American money for their Canadian Kickstarter.
I mean,
the American dollar was down.
I guess it would make sense too because French, and then they bring over.
Yeah. Well, and one of my concerns is I don't know what how involved the French side was in making sure that it was a good quality. I don't know if they. Because I'm assuming they were like, hey, we want you to get some voice actors for us. And then the studio's like, okay, we'll get some voice actors. And they're not thinking like, we should get like the best. We should get the best voice actors we can. It's like, I don't know who's local.
Yeah, okay, well, outside of those, I mean, those are usually those were the things because I mean, there were times, because of the random sentencing, and just the general, exposition, because there was a lot of exposition, but
yeah,
nothing that explains anything. Which is weird for exposition. You expect exposition to be like, oh, okay, well, here's a summary of what happened. None of that. Like a lot of the time, I was back on Wikipedia or the Wakfupedia, looking up whatever I could find. Like, who is this god that they're talking about? Why is this guy carrying a shovel? Why does that little pig thing follow him? I don't understand any of these things.
That's the problem. Is Yugo would make like the perfect fish out of water character because he's not like one of the other races that you run into in that scenario. So they could have very easily had him just be like, I don't know what anything is. Explain it to me. And the audience could learn that way if they've never played Dofus or now the Wakfu MMO is out. But
that was what really surprised me, because I've heard a lot of really good stuff about this show, but I think most of it is just looking at the animation side of it. But
which is like pretty much where all my positive comes from.
Yeah, but it was like, I've heard nothing but good things about Wakfu, but then watching it, it's like, I don't play this game. Do I, I don't know.
There's more to it going on than just like, oh, it's this MMO that's in this world now, and you're watching it. It is, I mean, I like the story and the plot and all that, but I'm worried that it got turned to crap in the English stuff. I don't know what other words to say for that. I don't know.
I don't know. The only thing I couldn't agree is, as I said, the run-on sentencing and the exposition could have been ruined with the English. It's quite possible. The story itself, the adventure, was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I got into it. I loved the battle sequences. Like, for multiple reasons. A lot of the time, like, studios will cut corners in battle sequences, right? Because they're so fast-paced, so you can... but this, I guess they couldn't do it because they were using the puppets and everything. There was that sequence where the guy with the shovel... And
cool, yeah.
And then Dally or Percival or whatever Sandy Grove guy, like he with the sword, they're fighting with each other and they're like jumping over each other and they're just like, but it's all like done sort of on a 2D plane, but they're using each other to fight, like constant incoming barrage of enemies. And I love that. I thought that was amazing. I love choreographed fighting sequences, and this was done really well. And that wasn't the only time they did it. It happened a couple times throughout the season. The final boss fights, the fight with the dragon versus the Nox guy. I don't know the dragon's name. What's like
Grugalorgran?
Yeah.
Grugalorgran.
Yeah, I was mad because I got sort of the pitch of his voice like the one moment after he was because he talks in third person all the time. It's like Grugalorgran, blah blah blah. And I got the pitch of his voice right, and I started like talking like him. But I was talking, I was like, I like Grugalorgran has to go take a steaming shit right now. You don't want to go in when Grugalorgran's finished. And, finishing everything the characters stand for.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the problems with the show also comes from the overhead of production, where it was like we're making this for a network. They want a kids show, and it has to be this many episodes. So now you've got like the story you want to tell, and you're like, well, now we have to like fluff it out. We got to put like a bunch of extra filler shit in there, and so like the show, like the first few episodes are fine. It's like, oh, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there. These are cool little adventures, and then it starts to get like muddled down, where it's like, all right, where'd Nox go? Where'd that guy? Is he fine? He's all right.
Yeah,
I completely forgot he existed after a certain point.
Yeah, after a certain point, he stopped showing up. I think it's like after the Boofball story arc with the basically not rugby thing. This like after that happens, then finally an episode ends and we just see like Nox ominously like scoping them out or something. I'm like, oh, there you are! You disappeared for like 7 episodes. I didn't know where you were, bro.
Well, even that, like, he gets defeated in the first episode, and that's the last you really saw. Oh, well, he appears, I guess, in the next episode again, when he's sort of harassing everybody. But even then, it just feels like, oh, he was there and gone. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, I guess he was. It was like, oh, I guess he's not important. Let's just continue on this adventure and see where they have to get going.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pacing. Yeah, it could do with some...
Season 2 has a little bit of that in there as well, but with Season 3, apparently they've like twisted the arm of whatever the studio overhead is, and they're like, no, we're cutting out all the filler stuff, it's just going to be like 10 episodes, I think they might be longer, they might not be, I don't know, but they're going to be good. I'm like,
Do you think that's because that's what's happening with Cartoon Network sometimes? Like they did that with Over the Garden Wall, right? They were like, oh,
Yeah.
it was just what? It was not even 10 episodes.
It was like 13, I think.
Well,
I'd
so
say it's like about 10 episodes, but they're not.
But they're not long,
terribly
like 2 minutes
Yeah,
long.
you
They're
can
like
watch the
15
whole thing.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
can watch the whole thing in like an hour or two.
but
I
that
actually
seems to
got the
be-
DVD. Like the entire runtime is about the length of a movie.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Which makes sense. Like if you're not trying to sell toys and you're just trying to tell a story. But that being said, you tell a good story. Example, Steven Universe. You're going to develop a lot. You're going to get a lot of fans, and I mean the fans are just both old and young fans are like, we want T-shirts and the backpack. We want the hamburger backpack.
Yeah.
So the same thing with this. I can even from
Or
what
the
I can
little
tell.
Pops toys, because they make literally everything in
Yeah,
those
I
things.
am not a fan of the Pops toys as much. Like, so now and then I like sometimes the designs thing.
I've never cared for the pop toys.
Yeah, I remember when they
You guys
first
are
came out.
butts.
I remember when they first came out, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I mean, they're
Yeah.
cute, but they're not cute for me, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
buy them. And then all of a sudden, there were millions of them. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
did you
shit.
get the EB Games at Metrotown? They took like Nintendo's whole wall, the whole section. They threw it over like on this tiny cramped wall. They replaced the whole thing with Pops toys.
Oh my god.
It's like a fucking shrine, a dedication to Pops toys. Like, are you looking for something obscure and stupid? Because it's here. We got it. We got everything.
Yeah, oh man, I hate it when I go to London Drugs as well sometimes. They've got like this huge PlayStation section, this huge Xbox section, and then there's like this little bin with like 3 DS games. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, yeah, that's exactly what Metrotown's looking like right now. Because it's like a wall of Xbox, a wall of PS4 stuff, and like both of those are on your sides as you make your way towards the back where the Nintendo stuff has been like shunned into the corner, and then it's like,
Aw.
wait, we took that and we shunned it even more over
Wow.
here, and now this is Pops toys.
Wow. Well, I
That's-
mean,
yeah,
you gotta show what makes you the money, huh? And I guess
I guess
Nintendo
so.
doesn't make you. I don't think the overhead for Nintendo is as good for retailers as
Probably not.
because they never drop their prices, right? So that's why retailers never drop their prices.
Hmm.
And anyway, this is not Nintendo cost. This
Yeah.
is. But yes, so I would imagine from what I've been able to gather, there's a lot of like, of like merchandise of Wakfu in France.
Some? I mean, there's... Not really. Not for the show,
So
specifically.
then the MMO must be making them a
The
shit ton.
MMO is ridiculous.
Because I know Dofus is definitely because it's free to play, but you have to pay really to keep playing. Because
Yeah, it's very limited in what you can do as a free player. Like, you can pop in there and poke around, but it's like, well, you want to go here? It's like $5.
well, with Wakfu, it felt like because I was playing the Wakfu MMO just for a little bit, and I liked the combat system, but it was just something about the way my mouse was working. I don't know if it was my mouse or the way the game was responding to it exactly, but I was not enjoying the response exactly. And I mean, but it was actually very easy to figure out everything that you needed to know. But the game itself is nice. It's also very pretty. There's a lot of like little character incidental animations.
Yeah.
when the character's talking to another character, then they actually react. They're like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah.
And I like just like I like that. But again, for some reason, it's playing on a small screen on my computer, so
Oh, you should be able to make
it wouldn't. Like the full screen was grayed out, so I was like, "Oh, okay, well."
Because you're a Mac.
I know on mine, I click and drag the corner to expand it.
Okay.
Because if I hit the full screen thing, it takes the whole screen. It's like, do you want to see like if anyone's contacting you on Skype? No. All of your computer is Wakfu now. I'm like, oh, please don't.
I just don't like MMOs.
This is a tactical MMO.
I don't care.
That's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a game I'm going to invest a lot of time in. I might play it here and there, but
Like, yeah, let me know next time you're on. And maybe playing with someone else will make it. Because I don't know. When you said, like, yeah, I played it and I sort of had fun and I didn't enjoy it too much, I was like, did you play with anybody?
yeah,
It's a massive multiplayer.
Yeah.
Multiplayer.
that's you're gonna laugh at me, but that's my problem with MMOs is I never play the multiplayer. Like when I was playing World of Warcraft,
I'm
Right.
in the same boat, but that's more because I don't want to talk to people I don't know. If
Yeah.
I have friends that I know are there, I'm like, great, we're hanging out.
exactly. I started playing World of Warcraft with friends, and then I was like playing by myself. I'm like, this is actually not fun. Like
Yeah.
it's so grindy. And then I was playing Guild Wars, and I got like a bunch of friends to join, and then they eventually left. And pretty much every MMO. I had the Star Wars MMO, which I was playing with one friend, and we managed to play for a really long time. But then when they started charging you to play, because I remember it was free to play. I can't remember. It was all.
I looked at that recently, and I think it's free to play, but it's like certain features. It's like, what do you want?
Oh yeah. In the beginning, you had to pay month to month, and we had no problem with that. But then they moved it to free to play. But then you get bonuses when you pay the month to month. But it was terrible because the moment you get knocked to free to play, your level dropped, and
Oh, wow.
it was very annoying. You had like a cap on all. You couldn't carry over a certain amount of money. I was like, no, I'm out.
That's
Also, because a lot of my friends left too that were playing the game, and the one friend that was playing with me couldn't afford the monthly subscription anymore, so I was like, okay, screw it.
I am just straight up not a social gamer. I like couch co-op, and that's about the extent of it. Maybe
That's pretty much where I am too.
Yeah, I
I said to Emily though that I'd love to see a Wakfu fighting game, like a 2D fighter.
Ooh,
that would be
they-
amazing.
what was it? They were doing some game that was like a top-down, like maybe it was sort of like Dota or something, where like you clicked where you wanted your character to go. It's called Slag, but they stopped production on it. I don't know what happened to it. Just sort of fell through the
Money, I
cracks,
would
I guess.
imagine, in somewhere.
Yeah, I think they ended up putting their time into Crossmaster, which is another like top-down tactical thing. That's like a board game almost.
Now, what is up with the names? What is a Dofus? Because I know in Wakfu
So a Dofus is a dragon egg.
Okay.
And there's 6 major Dofus. The primordial Dofus, and then there's like some others that are also important, but
Does it
they're
stand
like
for anything, or is it
not
just
important.
a word?
No, not really. It's just that's what they call a dragon egg, and
Okay.
it's a big. The whole point of the first of the Dofus MMO was like you're on a quest trying to collect all 6 of these Dofus, because if somebody has one, they get stupidly powerful, and if you have all 6, you're insanely powerful.
Yeah.
So
Almost godlike.
pretty much, the whole thing with Wakfu is that this ogre has claimed all 6 of the Dofus, and so now he's just fucked up the world. Like, he's huge and swollen, and he's heartbroken, so he's crying, and it's flooding the oceans.
Oh yes, I remember reading
Yeah.
that in the lore. Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
that's
then,
fun.
and so what is Wakfu exactly? It's like the energy that
Wakfu's
is
the
it like
energy.
Minotaurians?
No.
Nothing.
It's like this energy source that, I mean, yeah, it's gonna
Like
sound.
chi,
It's
really.
gonna start sounding like the Force. Yeah, it's inherent in all living things, more or less. It's
Some just have more than the others.
yeah, it's like a flowing energy that's just kind of everywhere. And then there's the opposite of it is stasis, which is like more or less the same energy, but it's stagnant and it doesn't go anywhere. It's a destructive energy, where Wakfu is a creative energy. It's a lot of shit to read.
That was, which is weird. That would be something you'd think I would have read up on, but I didn't. I was like reading up on the gods, and then when playing the Wakfu game, like reading the lore tablets and the sort of explaining stuff, and so it helped a little bit. But yeah, again, they would always just refer to a god or a creature, or oh, you act just like that race, and I'm like, what
Yeah.
does that mean? And
Oh yeah, no. When I first started watching it, I had no experience with anything going into it. So like they keep calling, well for me Grovey, they were like, you stupid yacht brain. I'm like, the hell does that mean? I'm like, that's an insult. That's just an insult, right? Yes, no, it's not just an insult. Okay, it's a race. It's a god. What is that?
it's a racial slur.
Yeah. It's like, what am I? All right, and then like I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, so the guys with no pupils, those are all yops. The guys with no pupils and red hair, those are yops. Wait, no, there's 2 races with red hair and no pupils. Just some of them have tattoos, and that makes them a different race. What the fuck? What am I looking at?
Yeah, I do love that one quip that Dali or Pinpin or whatever, his teacher who comes back from the dead.
Gultar. Well, he's a demigod.
Is that explained?
No.
Yes, but not in anything you watched.
Oh.
They did a short for Gultard before they started on Wakfu, and I almost told you to watch that, and then I didn't. It's all right. It's a fun little moment. But
Well, I mean, it's something I guess I can... Well, anyway, nonetheless, I do like the quote that he says. It's like, his daddy says, oh, they keep calling me a yacht brain, and he's like, oh, like they know more than we do. And I think that's like quite... I like that phrasing, because
Yeah.
that's just how people are in general. If they think they know a little bit more than you do, they insult you big time. Or like there's that attitude of like I know how to use a computer a bit better or something on a computer. So
So people take the high ground.
Yeah, and so it's like as if you know more than me. And I've always loved that concept because everybody always had to learn something at some point. Everybody's born with like the same knowledge. And
what I also love about that same episode, because that's one of the ones I watched in English before I came here. It's because he goes to fight Rubelax, and all his master tells him is like to use his head, and so you think like, oh, think smart, fight smart, and no, at the end he literally just starts headbutting him, and that's a theme. In the Gultard short, that's a thing that happens. He starts headbutting a dude to death, and then there's like a moment in season 2 where someone just starts headbutting a guy. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Use your head!
And that's also something I've noticed, again, this being a European production, you say headbutting to death, they're okay with expressing death in this.
Oh, yeah.
And I dig it. I mean, it's not to say that, like, in Over the Garden Wall, they didn't have some sort of...
Well, the entire theme of the show was death.
Yeah, the two kids possibly dying?
I was explaining that to my mom because she watched it with me, and I was like, "Oh, after the show ended, I was like, do you understand the motif for Over the Garden Wall means that they went to purgatory?" And she's like, "But how do you know?" I'm like, "Mom, it's prevalent in the entire."
Well, I mean, sometimes look. I know when it comes
but she
to
wanted
parents,
to check my sources, so fair on her. So
that's fair. But yeah, there's definitely. Sometimes, with Over the Garden Wall especially, I was also like, I raised my eyebrow, because I was also, when I first watched, I'm like, this is about purgatory. And I had some people, like, I think it was Matt, and he was like, no, it isn't. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it is. and then, like, eventually started reading other posts on net, and people, like, start piecing things together, and I didn't piece them together. I wasn't, like, going to sit there and write a dissertation about the whole thing.
Right.
But, yeah, so, back to Wakfu, that's what because, again, in a lot of like European cartoons, Asterix and Obelix comes to mind in particular, they've never had a problem expressing any sort of concern with both violence, death, and sex.
Yeah.
And this one sort of hints at sex too. Again, it's a kid's cartoon. It's definitely aimed towards.
Well, you were very surprised to find out that the princess was 13.
Oh, the green-haired girl who I called Saria for the longest time.
No, that's weird, because like I think Yugo's only supposed to be like, he might be 12.
Like 11, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how does
12.
that height difference work? I don't know.
Well,
I think
boys grow. I didn't think, like, okay, see, the thing is, I thought because of the boobs, that maybe she was like 16 at least.
Yeah.
But then she's like, I'm 13. I'm like, okay, well, you're out of my head fantasies. Out. Just boot. And because her friend, the blonde girl, the Craw girl, she is 17. But she does act a lot more mature. But in my head, it was like
they seem like they would be the same age.
Yeah,
they have flashbacks of them where they look the same age as kids, and you're like, how did you? What?
Yeah, because I mean, then what? She's like 4 years older. Yeah, 4 years older. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'm sure that they were probably originally supposed to be about the same age, and someone was like, yeah, but we want to like.
Oh, it's to like the kids.
Get the two kids together. Shipping.
Well, that's the thing. Again, you can tell it's for kids' cartoon because the main hero is the kid. He's the.
And that's what I was talking about with the studio being pressured into like, you're making a kids show. Keep him a kid. Make him a kid. Because when they were going to do season 3, they're like, we want to have a time jump, and everyone's going to be older and stuff. And apparently they were like, yeah, we've been talking with the network France 3, and they're like, we want it to be a kids show. We want to have the kid in the forefront. And they're like, no, he's going to be older. He's going to grow up. And they're like,
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean,
one more thing about the princess. Have you ever noticed that this is sort of a reoccurring theme in animation, especially with like any kind of anime or Japanese inspired cartoons? Is that it's like, oh, when they're 12, they're all cute and pigtails, and then suddenly 13, it's like boobs, hips, and it's like I don't
boobs
think
and hips.
I don't think in like voluptuous curves, and I'm like I don't think puberty really works like that.
Yeah, well, again, I think that's where a lot of the anime
weird time.
I think that's where the anime inspiration also kicks in again, because another thing that you pointed out was the fantasy female. Like all the females are really pretty, very voluptuous, very curvy. And all the men are the ones that are different looking. Like the forest people have like these long dreadlocks.
Yeah. Well,
their
there's a lot of
faces.
things. Oh god, yeah. And
it's something that drives me crazy whenever they have like any kind of fantasy creatures, and it's like the males are always these really interesting, like the green-haired people. You know, it's like their entire faces are green, and all the girls still look like female women, like female humans, and it's like. Why? Why is this always a thing?
in Dofus, one of the classes is SRAMs, which are like these backstabby, like sneaky shadow people. The men, all skeletons. Just straight skeletons. Fucking take their head off, chattery teeth, skeletons. The women look like harem girls.
What?
They're just women in scanty clothing. And,
I'll load it up later. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I mean, they've sort of made it a little better in Wakfu, because like they both races, both genders, they both just wear like this skin tight outfit with like a bone print on it, and that's fine. But like the women, they've got like the skeleton mask that's like pulled up over their head, so you can see the pretty face. The men just have skeleton mask down, so it's are you still a skelly man, or are you a man wearing a skeleton face? I can't tell. I still don't know.
Yeah, but I mean that's again. I think
it seems to be a recurring theme in pretty much anything fantasy.
That's
sci-fi.
the fantasy world. I think because again, I'm not like saying it should be this way. I'm just merely explaining it. I remember a while ago. With Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, the reason in The Hobbit especially they brought in that female elf. She wasn't in the books, or the book, that they turned into 3 movies. But yeah, she wasn't in there. And the reason for that is if you read Lord of the Rings, there's no female presence. In The Hobbit. In Lord of the Rings is like 1 or 2, but like the main characters, no female presence whatsoever. And again, this is not because there was no, we hate women, they should not appear in this thing. Tolkien's influences were the same thing. It was like, I've got male, like the heroes of my stories, which is male. I'm male. I'm going to write male adventurers. That's how it is. It's how, and I think that sort of still happens a bit like nowadays. That people are like, I'm a male. I'm going to write for my male adventuring, or I'm a white person. I'm going to write for white person adventuring, and you don't quite click on it until somebody points out, like, hey, where are the black people? Where's the woman? And it's like,
Then someone's like, oh wait, shit.
And again, I feel at least that it's not like it's definitely not done on purpose. It's just I think with Wakfu, it is what looks the nicest. You know,
look, as a writer, I actually really do understand, but it's one of the reasons why we have to push for get people like
it's
Rebecca.
one of those things. You need to point it out and address it where it is.
I think like interesting designs because the heliotropes look pretty interesting if I remember correctly. The designs for them, but. Yeah, you can easily like or the robot males and the robot females. Like you could see they had a male and a female form.
They don't. The Foggernauts.
Yeah.
On the MMO, there's not a female form.
I'm pretty sure you can choose. Well, at least you can choose female. Okay, well, we'll double check that, but nonetheless, at least fine. And you have like the singular form, and it's a robot, and it looks really good.
Oh, it's really well done.
And so I think like I get because I personally like. The design of female human placed into crazy different outfits. I like that. But at the same time, if you show me like a really interesting design concept for a female in that world, then I'm not going to be like, you gross, never want to touch that. But again, using World of Warcraft as an example, I know that the undead females were like one of the least popular races to play with because they just, and the female trolls were also like really, nobody wanted to play with them. But the female races for everything else were fine.
Yeah.
So
I think I think you can do it. I haven't finished Mass Effect, but I really need to. But I remember like a lot of the females from those alien races, like they were still obviously female, but they were really alien looking, and I like that. I don't know.
Well, I think what Wesley's talking about is with those classes is it's when someone goes on there to play as like. Was it orcs or trolls? Was it trolls?
Yeah, the trolls.
Okay, yeah. So they're like, okay, I'm gonna play as a troll, but I think this is the disconnect of like, well, I don't want to be an ugly troll lady, but I'm fine with being an ugly troll man. Like, it's
there's a lot.
Yeah, it's like if I'm gonna pick a female, I'm doing it to be pretty. If I'm gonna pick a man, it's fine if I'm like grizzled and ugly and scarred and whatever. and maybe my lower jaw juts out 3 feet in front of my face. I don't care. I'm just like, yeah, look at what muscles.
Yeah, and I would argue, because look, I think it's actually been proven that World of Warcraft is played by more females than males, and so I would use the argument otherwise that, it's probably because dudes don't want to, like, I think there's a general all-around, like, just a thing with humans that we like sort of a nice aesthetic to our women. I think that is like something that's there. Like we just like looking at like even with a man, like we like looking at a prettier man, but I think we're more willing to sort of deviate from him. Like both sides, both males and females. I mean, I've seen lots of like Tumblr art by females where the girls are super super pretty and the guys are the ones that are like altered. It's done on both sides. It's not just a male thing, is what I'm pointing out. Like I don't think men are just the only ones obsessed with a pretty female.
There's a lot I have to say about that, but it's getting way too much into culture and subtext.
Yeah.
But I'm not disagreeing with you. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, Wakfu is just a victim of the times, I guess, where they're like, okay, we can either be experimental in this one way, which they were in a lot of things, I mean, just playing the game, I played it with 2 different classes. I can't remember the first one. I think it was whatever Dali is. The
Yacht.
Yeah. And then the other one I played is the heliotrope because I love the idea of teleporting. And it said that the heliotrope was a more advanced class to play, and whereas the Yop was like, oh, you just run in and hit things. But like after I sort of got the hang of like placing my little teleport things, like I could use it. It's like you jump in the teleport and you're standing on the other side and you launch like a laser beam. And then if the alien is like really or monster is close to your teleporter, you just shoot into the teleport behind you, and it shoots like a stronger beam at it or something. And I love that.
I love there's a lot of fun mechanics in that game.
And that's clever. That's great. So to keep everything looking aesthetically pleasing to everybody, I guess, would be ideal. You want to grab as many people as you can.
We all want that perfect world, but nobody is ever going to agree on what a perfect world is.
Yeah.
And what it's like, oh, I don't like these designs. It's like, yeah, but these designs they don't offend anybody. It's like, yeah, but I don't care for them. Or like, suddenly, oh, I really like these designs. It's like, yes, but these people have a problem with it. It's like, shit,
yeah,
you can't win.
In a business sense, you have to choose. You can either make 10 people happy or you can make 1,000 people happy. And sadly, still in this world, 1,000 people like curvy 13-year-olds versus...
I have a lot of questions about this society.
Is this where we, that is where we got off the rails, isn't it? With
curvy 13-year-olds.
Like curvy 13-year-olds.
And now we're back.
Yeah, painful circle. Jesus.
It happens a lot on this podcast.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, so...
Let's just say I've done way too much reading.
but yeah, I like the designs. I love the art of the show in general. Like I can give like 10 out of 10, 2 thumbs up for just, and not because it's just pretty looking. Because I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that can be pretty looking, but it doesn't do anything for you.
Right.
It's while that's like really up there and it like does a good job, like the art is really good in the animation. I mean, every now and then there's like a little weird jump in the animation.
And there is,
what did I notice the other day? Like I noticed, like because again they're rigs, right? They're puppets. So there was a character standing like this, and then just before the frame moved over to the next scene, like her arm like jerked.
Really?
Oh, there was this one scene where it was like the character disappears completely.
Yes. They're like running or something, and then.
No, I think it was the one with the vampire, wasn't it?
Oh, I can't remember exactly, but there was lots of moving, and it was literally like 1 or 2 frames. It was basically like maybe somebody extended the time frames in Flash, but forgot to extend the frames for the puppet or whatever, and then they just posted it in. And that's all it was, just 2 frames, but everything's there, the characters are looking, and he just disappears. Like,
who does?
Maybe it was the bad guy. I can't remember.
I want to say it was the vampire guy that fight in the one episode.
I'll go look into that. I'm curious.
You just have to like watch and have to, because I notice those things a lot when I'm watching animation, especially puppet animation. I'm always like pointing out, like, Emily, there's a hookup error there. I'm always like pointing out hookup errors as well because it's drilled into us, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that happened like once or twice at least. I know for a fact that, and so but the animation otherwise is all around pretty good.
It does kind of feel like they put just all of their just all of their resources into the fight scenes, and then sometimes the other scenes would kind of suffer for it for that reason.
Oh, there were definitely A, B, and C scenes. Type of
yeah.
thing. There was definitely a lot of scenes that were there were a lot, especially in the beginning, scenes close up of the face and just the character talking or just reacting. Like that, nobody, no shoulders, just the face.
I think another part of it is I don't know how many animators they got from out of house to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they pulled a lot of guys from like the Dofuses, because that's all Flash done.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I mean they must have pulled some people from out of studio, but like they didn't know what they were really doing. So the first few episodes, yeah, they do suffer, especially episode 5. It was like that was their pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So the one with the Pudleys or whatever, and it is real bad.
Yeah,
it's I need to go see if they fixed it in the English dub, but in the French one, they had a different story plot at the time. So in this episode that was supposed to be like this pilot, they're walking along having a good time. I'm like, man, you're gonna go find Yugo's family. That's what this adventure's all about. And then someone makes some happy-go-lucky observation, and Evangeline's like, well, what about this thing? What about fucking Ares Chaos? What's that all about? And I'm like, what is that? Like, nobody's talked about this before or what? And she's just like, we gotta keep moving because it's ravaging the land.
That is true.
Yeah.
You do okay. They don't mention the chaos or anything in particular, not that I remember, but they do say like we can't go and help every single person we come across. Type of attitude, and it's like we've got to go and help Hugo, and that's what they were saying. But it did kind of feel like, it was like, whoa, that's something weird. Why do you want to bring that up in this adventure?
I just chalked it up to the fact that since I've never played this MMO, I was just like, oh, just another thing that takes me out of the storyline, because apparently I need to read up on the lore, study up, it's a matter of respect, JonTron reference.
It's a matter of respect. There's definitely, and that's such an off-put. Actually, because I almost didn't want to watch past episode 3.
Ooh.
I was like, I got to episode 3 and I'm like, I don't know if I like it. I like the art. I like a lot of things, but the story is wibbly wobbly. The voice acting is off-putting because of English, I imagine. Again, it's not terrible voice acting. It's just not good voice acting. It's that. I would say on that center.
Like once the sound design, like, oh wow.
It's like the sound design only perpetuates the fact that these are people in the sound booth, because it's like there's like a lot of like little soft.
Oh, like there's these huge explosions or ground break, like smashes, but like. And then the person talks like really loud, like, oh, I'm barely responding to the explosion that's happened to me right now.
That makes me even more upset that you guys didn't watch it in French. It's like, no. Well,
we can maybe try and watch season 2 in French, but as I said, like we tried with.
Yeah, well, also the other thing too is bit of a confession. We don't like watching subtitled things because usually no. It's not that we don't like watching subtitle things. We don't like watching subtitles while we're also cooking dinner and trying to because usually we watch these things while we're eating dinner, and it's very
watching the dog. Sometimes we're drawing. I mean, it really we're doing 2 things at once here.
Yeah.
I don't multitask when I watch things.
It's like
shame on you.
It's like when I watch subtitled things, I just want to watch the subtitled thing. I don't like.
This reminds me. Charles was actually our teacher. Charles, who there's an interview of in another episode. He was. I think he's also pro subtitles. And he actually worked with people bringing in anime back like 30-40 years ago. Bringing in anime to Canada to get subtitled. So. I don't know how legit it was, but I imagine it was sort of like, oh, give me a cassette overseas and sorting that type of stuff. But yes, I am pro subtitles. I love watching it in the original language, and I think we would have watched it when we watched it for that second in French, that it wasn't all weird. Yeah. Maybe I could have given it a second chance, but by the time we were considering giving it a second chance, we were already halfway through. May as well stick to the English.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could consider watching the movies, or because we'll probably review season 2 by itself and then the movies by themselves. Yeah, I think would be a better way of taking up precious internet space.
How about that the Dofus movie?
I haven't seen it yet. Oh.
It's not out. It's not out in March.
Okay.
The book,
like the Dofu
book of Judas. Yeah, it's not live action. Whoa, no, it's hand drawn, traditionally animated.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and it looks really nice. So I'm excited for it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, do you think it's going to hit like a cinema release, or is it just going to? It would be cool because I've noticed here in Vancouver, things I've just done since I moved here is go watch films at the Odeon Village, where they bring in they brought the Dragon Ball Z movies in like a couple times, and like a lot of foreign films.
I know that the clips that they put up on their YouTube, they're in French, but they put English subtitles with them.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to be advertising it a decent amount on the English websites, so I'm assuming that this is probably going to be at least a limited release of here it is, it's in French, but we got subtitles, it looks pretty. You
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll watch. So it's going to be about the Dofus stuff in particular. Not
it's going to be Dofuses era.
So prequel,
stuff.
I guess?
Prequel, yeah. Mm-hmm. There's also, there's a series called Tales of Carob that is also a Dofus series, but
are there comics and books, I believe?
There are comics and books to the series, but usually those are for I don't want to say characters that don't matter, but but
tertiary characters.
If you're focused on the show, then the characters, they sometimes run into them, and then you're like, who is that? Why is that guy here? And why is this a thing with him? And it's like, oh, well, that's explained in the comics, and you didn't read those.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe one day I'll get them. I don't know. I've never seen them, so... Well, okay, just to wrap it all up, my general opinion of the show is if you can push through it, and with Steve's recommendation, watch it in French.
Only in French. Don't. Don't eat with the English.
don't be a Wesley Boone. Watch it in French.
I don't know. There's not a lot of things that I get that worked up about with watch it with subtitles. Watch it with subtitles. You gotta do it with subtitles. But that was I don't know. When I heard the English voice, it's like, oh no.
I remember with some anime too that I've collected. I have the Azumanga Daioh box set, and I remember I was okay with English in that. But then I had the Fulikuli box set, and I didn't like the English in there at all.
Really?
But the English in there was done by
see, despite you, I'm going to watch it in English.
It was not my favorite, and so I preferred watching it in Japanese.
I've actually never watched Fulikuli in Japanese, so I don't know how much better it is.
Well, I don't know
watched it on Adult Swim. They don't have any
See that disappointment. That disappointment.
in you.
You're feeling it.
If you can push through that, the first 3 episodes at the very least, watch it in French, and
understand that you're not going to get everything if you haven't played the
it's not vital, I think, as well, that you need to understand every little thing, because the references they make are basically just things like, if an alien came down to Earth and you said Jesus, and they'd be like, what do you mean? Type of thing. Or if you make sort of cultural references or pop culture references, that's how it feels. It feels like I'm this foreigner that's like, what are you guys talking about?
It feels like everyone's making inside jokes and you're outside.
It's like if you're it's like if pretend you're an American and you go to Britain and it's like they say a saying that you've never heard before and you're just kind of like, what? It's kind of like
if you're not a fan of something and then you go to a convention where everyone's talking about that thing you're not a fan of, that's what it's like. That's the easiest way to sum it up.
You kind of just stand there and you're like, mm-hmm. So if you can get over that too, you'd actually be in for a treat. I think the adventure's really fun. It's got you kind of do get attached to the characters. I feel again because of the English and because of the run-on sentencing, I got sort of a little bit annoyed with them sometimes. But I really liked Ava. I thought she was a really interesting character design, and not just the design of her, but the character creation,
the character herself,
the characterization. Yeah, I liked Danny in the end. I liked how he grew as a character.
Yeah.
And I was sad what happened to him. And
that silence. It's okay. He became a legend.
and
how dare you?
and I liked.
Did he word it that way? Did he say he's entering the legend?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was like, if they didn't fucking do that.
Yeah. So overall, I would say watch it. Wesley Gibbon gives his 2 thumbs up in watching it.
It really is. If you can push past some of the nitpicky stuff and you just want to watch fun little adventures, it kind of struck me as very Avatar-ish.
Mhm.
Like The
I can
Last
see that.
Airbender.
Last Airbender.
I know he's a baker, but he's not that much of a baker.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, the bread pun episode with the friggin'
Yeah, bread fun episode.
what was it? The bread knot? Oh my gosh, that
Yes,
was
the
amazing.
bread nut. Oh shit.
Oh, and I remember when we watched that, I remember Wesley said something, oh, no wonder Steve likes this show.
Oh yeah, no, he said that about like the third or fourth
Yeah.
episode or something. He's like, oh yeah, I see why you get this now. I'm like, you made it to the bread episode? He's like, bread episode?
Yeah, Steve loves puns. I realized he loved because the show's riddled with puns, but like it also in like a really weird sort of
Yeah.
throwaway kind of. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make a pun and then move on, and like, can I laugh at the pun? What happened?
You're like, whoa. I don't know if it would be in the English dub, but in the French version in season 2, there was one part where they were making a. What did they say? They were talking about how hungry they were, and someone's like, burgers can't be choosers. Someone else is like bacon late than never or something. What is this?
Well, I mean, obviously, as you can hear Steve do, go ahead.
I love it.
Yeah. Right, well, that's the end of the show for now then. We'll probably cover season 2 once we finish watching it, but we've also got other shows that we want to review.
Yes.
It'll happen when it happens. Yeah, the usual contact information can be found in the YouTube chat link at the bottom or the Tumblr link, anonymousanimators.tumblr.com.
Yep.
Emily, anything you want to...
My usual neuroticartist.tumblr.com, neurostreet.deviantart.com. I forgot which one was which for a second. I was like, is NeuroStreet my Tumblr? Wait, that's not right.
And Steve, you want to sell up anything?
Doodly Scoots at Tumblr. Come find me.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, I'm there. I don't post anything, but I'm there.
Well, thanks for listening. Until next time.
Ciao.